You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth is he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. I feel it. Feel it, you feel it?
Faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup exploring over 60 years of the Doctor Who universe. Hold on tight. You never know where the crew of the TARDIS is going next.
Hey there, Whovians, and welcome to another episode of the Earth Station Who podcast. That's right, folks. We are back, and we've got a great one for you. We're going back to Big Finish tonight, and we are going to be looking at the Once and Future series. That's right. We're looking at part 5 of the series. We are looking at the Martian invasion of Planetoid 50. Not only do we get a version of the 10th Doctor, played by David Tennant, we also get Missy, and we also get the Paternoster gang. This is just like heaven, on audio, and it's going to be great to talk about with you guys. We've got a great crew, of course. Let's welcome, of course, Mr. Mike Gordon.
Howdy.
And we got Mary Ogle here, of course.
Hi, everyone. It is fantastic to be here.
And hey to YouTube listeners and viewers. It's great to be up on YouTube tonight. So we are going to be talking all about this. And if you haven't listened to the audio yet and want to, we are going to spoil the heck out of this. So put us on pause. It's not a long finish audio. It's an hour.
I think it's 70 minutes.
Yeah, it's not that long. Not like, when we listen to the Diaries of River Song or the Paternoster Gang or some of the other tales where it's like 4 different stories and everything. This is just one part.
Yeah, the music alone in River Song is like an hour.
Exactly. Well, at least it feels like it, so it's okay. But it's good to see you guys. And, it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. Feedback at Earth Station Who is the best way to get in touch with us. If you have any comments or any thoughts, please, reach out to us. We definitely would love to hear from you guys. Some news that even Mike and Mary and myself have not talked about. Thank you to our listeners for making us in the top 10 of Doctor Who podcasts on Good Pods.
Yay!
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Thank you. You guys are doing it. You guys are listening to us. You're actually paying attention to us. Who would have thought,
Uh-oh.
What's wrong with you people?
From the bottom of our hearts, from all 3 of us, thank you. We do appreciate you. And, we do pay attention to that kind of stuff. And, knowing that people are out there listening and doing stuff about stuff we love, because we're all Doctor Who fanatics here. And, we have a passion for it. We love talking to it. And we love being able now you could see us talk about this on our brand new YouTube channel. So it's pretty cool. So
Very
thank you.
exciting.
So keep it up. Let's go to number 1. Come on, we can take on the Doctor Who podcast. We can take out, stuff like, Tin Dog, or we could take care of the traveling TARDIS, or, well, I like the traveling TARDIS, but I do want to, we could also take.
But we can stomp all over Tin Dog.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Everyone else, stomps on the Tin Dog, so why not us? So definitely thank you very, very much. We do appreciate it. All right, we got a little bit of Who news we want to cover real quick. Nothing huge like last time when we were talking about a companion leaving and everything. The big news, of course, was that Russell T. Davies in an interview came out and said that Doctor Who Season 1, or Season 14 for the purists, basically was supposed to premiere originally in January of this year. And now they decided to put it on hold and work on the special effects and, tighten things up with some of the editing that they had to do. And like, they have Disney money, so take advantage of this,
You can't blame them. You really can't.
That's why we're getting it in May. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, I'd rather they take their time and put out a good product than rush it. As much as I really want it right now, I mean, we could be watching Doctor Who right now. But
instead of having to review Big Finish, we could be reviewing the new episode.
But hey, I love Big Finish. But
Oh, exactly.
but yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's okay. I would have been surprised if it came out in January.
Especially that close to the Christmas special and everything like that.
Yeah. Especially when, like, and if you see, look at it this way too, if we'd gotten it sooner, then we would have had to even wait longer for new episodes. So for season
Exactly.
2.
That's true. That's the
so
right
it's
way to
like-
look at it.
Yeah. So it's like, space it out a bit. Take your time, it is interesting. I don't know. I mean, now are we going to grade the effects now? Like, well, they had time and they had more money.
And it's
so
still
the
terrible.
the effects should be really good now. And if they're not, like, whatever, what are they doing? But I don't know. I'm just, I think it's fine.
I'm just glad to have a new season.
May will be here before we know it.
Yeah.
No, and May's going to be here before we blink, and it's going to be a lot of interesting stuff to be able to, we're going to be looking back and it's going to be flying by, and then we're going to be going, now we have to wait till December to the Christmas special,
Life is unfair.
Yeah, new Doctor Who, come on,
Yeah.
Sometimes
Doctor Who fans will always find something to whine about, no matter what.
Oh, of course. But, I think I'm not looking a gift horse in the mouth. I thought the special effects that they had in the Christmas special were outstanding. The effects they had in the 60th anniversary specials was awesome. I can't complain. And if we're going to get more of that, compared to what we had even 5 years ago in special effects, I think it's going to be great. So bring on May. Bring it on, my friend.
Bring it on, RTD.
Exactly. We're waiting for it.
Yeah. I mean, at least it's that, when you hear a lot of times about delays and reshooting things and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't seem to bode well. So at least it doesn't have that cloud over it.
Exactly. And it took a lot of guts actually for him to admit that, most production companies wouldn't even bring up that they were going to be released early, that they were, they would just put it out, in May and not even say anything.
Well, like I said, Russ is, like we've said, Russ is, he is making sure that Doctor Who stays in the news.
Yeah.
That there's not a week that goes by where something they're not talking about something. We're not talking about something. So, I think he's been pretty good since he's taken over again. Very rarely do we go, well, there's not a lot of Doctor Who news this week, because he's usually giving us something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's much more media savvy.
Yeah, much more media savvy, and than the BBC was, and that
either showrunner was actually either.
Disney is not. Hopefully this can give a chance, maybe for Disney to start getting on board to sell this like they should, because I really don't feel like, other than airing them, I don't feel like Disney's really doing anything to give the Doctor Who a bump.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet.
Right.
That's a good point, Mikey. It's interesting, too, because I know for the holiday special and also for the 60th anniversary specials, at least in the UK, the ratings were great. The final ratings and everything. Doctor Who did really, really well. Disney, of course, keeps the ratings very close to the chest, and they don't usually mention how much, so I don't think we'll ever find out how Doctor Who did, the rest of the world, because it was on Disney Plus pretty much everywhere else. So.
Yeah, sure. We're just not going to know. But it was popular enough that Disney Plus wanted it in the first place. So hopefully.
Disney has wanted Doctor Who for years.
Oh, I know. They wanted it since the TV movie.
Yeah.
And they got it, at least partly.
Exactly. Technically, yes.
It would be nice if they supported it.
Yeah.
Made it worth their own while.
Exactly. So fingers crossed. We'll see what happens, or as we like to say, watch this space, or listen to our next episode or the episode after. Maybe we'll find out some more stuff with
I'm
it.
sure Russell will give us something. There'll be some sort of nugget to come out.
Oh, very much so. Very, very much so. I'm fully expecting, more news stories. As like you said, Russell likes to be in the news all the time, keeping Doctor Who on the forefront. So, yeah, I'm sure we'll have more news to talk about. And, it's good we do a podcast about that, so we can talk about that. So, awesome, man. So, we also have some sad news, actually, in Doctor Who. We actually lost the actor who played the Valyard. I know we're not supposed to mention the V word here on the show, but, Michael Jaston passed away, and he played the Valyard in, of course, Trial of a Time Lord. And he, he's been many, many British productions, but that's how I knew him as, mostly. And, but he was a very iconic role, but he also was very welcoming to Doctor Who fans and such at conventions and different shows he went to and such. So it's pretty cool. And
Yeah,
sadly,
he's behind quite the legacy. I mean, not only Doctor Who, but he did, a lot of other, participated in a lot of other British productions. I've never seen, Trial of the Time Lord, so I have no experience with him in that role. But I find it interesting, since the Valyard is really, spoilers, from what I understand, a version of the Doctor. And add that to his career of playing James Bond in audios. He is one of the few actors, if not the only actor, to have portrayed James Bond and the Doctor in various forms of media, which I find is pretty interesting note.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he was also very well known because he was on Coronation Street. He was also on EastEnders. He was also, Only Fools and Horses and Midsummer Murders. So I know, he got around. But he also did a lot of Shakespeare and such and on the East End. So it was pretty cool. So, he died at the age of 88.
Wow.
So he had a good life.
Yeah. We've lost several of our classic Doctor Who people in the last few years.
Yes, somebody put Tom Baker in glass now.
Yeah.
Do not let anything happen to Tom. So, so it's very interesting, and it's with the Valyard, I think, if I remember correctly, because it's been years, I have not gone back and watched it. The Valyard was supposed to be a form of the Doctor between his 12th and 13th regeneration. So, is what they said on the series.
Must have missed that storyline.
Yeah.
Well, it was
between Capaldi and Jodie.
Yeah, he could have popped out, somewhere between when she was falling from the TARDIS.
Yeah.
She did a bi-generation.
Right.
Well, from what I understand, certain people who, have said something about the bi-generation and how it does, in fact, now support more like things like the Valyard popping up. So,
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting too, because I've read, things like that, but I've also read that stories, that he could be part of the whole thing, the Dream Lord, if you remember from, Moffat's era, who was supposed to be a darker version of the Doctor also.
Yeah.
So,
well, I know a lot of times we joke about how Trial of Time Lord is going to be the last thing we do on this. So I guess we have his performance to look forward to. But in all the things I've heard about that storyline, that season, that character, I've never heard a bad thing said about his performance or him in general. So
nope, exactly.
I've never heard issues with him either. There
No.
aren't any issues otherwise.
Right.
That's
He
the rest
doesn't.
of that storyline. No.
Yeah, yeah. He doesn't usually come up in the list of actors who've played the Doctor, but perhaps one day he will. Who knows?
Who knows? Exactly. So we'll see. We will see, my friends. All right. I think that is it for Doctor Who news, unless anyone else has anything they want to bring up real quick.
I saw that they mentioned that, or it came out that it looks like the special shorts that we get with the DVD releases are going to stop. Apparently, they're not very cost effective. So,
I love those.
In fact, the one that they just produced with Leela, I think, cost quite a bit, and it was a lot of work. And then they've got 2 more, I think, coming up. And then I guess the BBC or whoever has put a kibosh on doing more of those. Which, yes, those are really nice. But I really don't think anybody. I mean, you buy the DVDs to get the seasons. You don't buy the DVDs for this little short that you can watch on YouTube for free. like you don't like that. I mean, they're good promotion.
Yeah, well, they're just great advertising.
They're great. They're
really
great.
Fun.
I would like to think that they get some people interested in watching the classic series, but I don't know. I mean, mostly I hear from people who are familiar with those characters already going, "Oh, we love seeing them again." So, I don't, and now people expect, like with the Leela thing, people expect more from that storyline, et cetera. So it does put a little bit more, they're not just like little fun little clips. They're things that people actually now are getting invested in. So kind of takes away from maybe some of the DVD releases or the Blu-ray releases. So I can see where, they would kind of put a kibosh on it, but it does seem like, oh man, we're having so much fun.
Well, look at the whole thing. With
I like playing with our toys
and everything. With Tegan in this with the snake and everything. With the we're doing the 20th anniversary discs, and you had everybody coming out and saying it confirms everything about Nyssa and Tegan and their relationship, and it was for us. It's an advertisement for a DVD. So, are these canon? Do they count? And that's also, questions too, right there. So, but I can understand.
I don't care about any of that. I think they were really fun. And I think
I
think they added to the DVD releases, not took away from them. I think they only made it even more.
Oh, very much so. It makes me more excited to get the discs and everything, even though we have to wait almost a year till,
Yeah.
We get it.
That's
and
just
speaking of that, thank you, Amazon, for sending me an email today saying that the 20th anniversary special, which was originally supposed to, come out in October, is now delayed till July. Thank you.
Yep. Part for the course.
Mm-hmm. And they, of course, they ask, "Do you want to keep this in your shopping? In your order?" It's like, yes, I ordered it. Please, There's a reason for that. So, but I think it's been out in the UK, for probably since fall. So
yeah.
So we'll see. It's just me bitching. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's annoying, but I don't even think about it anymore because what can you do? It's always like that. They do this to us every time. So.
Nope, you were exactly right. So we'll see what happens with that and everything. Oh, a little bit of extra other news. We have some con news, actually. The 3 of us will be appearing at a con together very, very soon. In 2 weeks, actually.
Woo-hoo! Very soon. Yeah.
Yep. We are going to go down to Pensacon. That's right, Earth Station Who. The crew will be together again, as we like to say. And we are going to be down there the final week of February and down in Pensacola, Florida at Pensacon. And the dates are going to be, of course, February 22nd. Actually, we're getting down there on the 22nd, the 23rd through the 25th. And we are going to have panels. We don't have exact schedules yet, but we're supposed to have a few panels and we'll be wandering. We maybe get some interviews in. And so you'll be seeing us there if you're going to be attending the con. Look for myself, Mr. Mike Gordon, and Ms. Mary Ogle, and some other friends, including Mark Maddox, will be there. But I think Mark Maddox has like a permanent table there.
Yes.
Don't let that scare you, though.
I know. Don't be.
Although, if you're a Doctor Who fan, make sure you bring. I mean, Mark has done a lot of like stuff for Doctor Who, including Doctor Who magazine. So great opportunity to get that stuff signed. Or I believe he always has prints of that stuff too. So
yes, he does.
So you can get in on that. Some that if you are a Doctor Who Mark Maddox fan. But I'm really excited because you guys talk so highly about it. So I was definitely glad to add that to my convention schedule. And I guess we can also mention, Mike, that you and I we are confirmed for SE Comic-Con in Greenville on April 6th and 7th, which we're both on the website. We both have tables. I don't know. I doubt we're going to do much paneling because I don't think they do that much anymore, but we'll be there. So come by and say howdy.
Definitely come by, say howdy. We'll sign a postcard or something for you. If you're fans of ESO or ESW, and South Carolina is one of my favorite cons of the year.
Me too.
It's
and this year is their 10th year anniversary. Or their 10th anniversary. So this one's going to be probably the biggest one they've ever had.
They're having Shatner. They are going to have Shatner this year.
That's how you know it's big.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Shatner in Greenville. Come on. What else can you want? This is awesome.
Yeah, I don't think there's been any Doctor Who related guests yet, but they're far from announcing all the guests so far. So watch this space.
Definitely watch this space. And Mr. Mike, congratulations. You are a guest at Dragon Con this year.
I am. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. I got accepted once again. Very honored to be back again as a guest and to have a table once again in the Comics and Pop Artist Alley. So looking forward to that. So much work to do with all these shows coming up, but I'm really excited. And of course, we had the release of the Dragon Con Report podcast that came out a couple weeks ago, and we are getting ready to record the next one pretty soon.
Very much so. So yeah, the balls are growing. It's pretty awesome. We got cons coming up, my friends. And you know what? The season is upon us. And it just seems like all these new little cons are popping up too. There's quite a few of them in Atlanta popping up. I know there's been a couple that have approached us in Huntsville, Alabama. One or two down in like the Orlando, Tampa area. And so, we're looking at them. You never know where we're going to pop up. It's going to be kind of fun to, make more appearances and such. So you never know. Look for the space, as I like to say. We will be everywhere. All right. Let's take a quick break and we'll be back in a moment. And we will then go and chat all about the big finish, the Martian invasion of Planetoid 50.
Pardon the interruption. We'll bring you back to your podcast in just a moment. But first, a promo for the Cosmic Pizza Podcast.
In the Cosmic Pizza Podcast, your pizza delivery guys, Dan, Sean, and Paul, serve you a slice of life.
As we discuss literally anything in the universe.
Conspiracy theories?
Movies that we've liked. Women in comedy, voice actors, film directors and producers, authors. But what we don't talk about is pizzas.
Wednesday, I'm here with you people. It's wild.
All right, folks, we're back, and we are going to be talking about the Martian invasion of Planetoid 50. It is the fifth part of the Once and Future series. We did the first part. We reviewed it a couple of months back. And, I've listened to a couple of them. I haven't listened to all of them yet. And I don't think you need to listen to them in order until you probably get to the end, because it doesn't make any sense too.
Anyway, I love how we're sticking to our standard of never doing anything in order.
Yeah, right.
Why change now?
Yeah, never do anything in order. Never do proper research.
Exactly.
Well, it's interesting in the story because you got 3 different doctors in this story. Because you had it started off with the first Doctor, then it went to the 10th Doctor, and then it ended up with the 3rd Doctor, which was real interesting. And it was a neat concept because, I knew, it was Tennant, and knew it was, of course, the Paternoster gang, and of course Missy. That, I think, having Missy and Tennant's Doctor together was the driving point for us to review this. I think just having the Paternoster gang was like icing on the top.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the cast is great. The characters that they come up with are great. The concept of dealing with or having, the Martian invasion, War of the Worlds, H.G. Wells, that associated. I'm constantly surprised that Doctor Who hasn't done more with H.G. Wells, but we get what we get, and this isn't like any sort of adaptation. It's fun. There's a lot of things that, like, for me, it checks a lot of boxes for me, as you mentioned, all the characters, and War of the Worlds is one of my favorite books on the planet. So there was some expectations put on this, maybe, that it wouldn't have been on other normal ones. It's a fun story. I don't know if it's like an amazingly great story, but it was fun. I enjoyed it overall, particularly the performances. And as far as the storyline goes with the Once and Future, this is only the second one I've listened to, so I don't really know what's going on. This doesn't further that a lot, except to say that the Master's also affected, which I thought was interesting. They played around with that a little bit. But otherwise, it was just kind of fun to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, I totally agree with you about it being light on the plot. It's a very...
The plot is pretty rubbish.
Yeah, it's very simple. Or even simplistic. Yeah. So, but this, for me, was all about the character interaction, and the character interaction is fantastic. The chemistry between Tennant and Missy, and Tennant and the Paternoster gang, and the pseudo companion Jessamine. Yeah. She's not bad. I mean, the actress is good, but she's not doing a whole lot in it. But it doesn't really matter because you're having so much fun listening to all the banter going back and forth. This is all about the banter. It is not about the plot.
No.
And so, but I loved it. I realized the story was simple. I totally agree with you there, but I just loved sitting back and listening to them, and it flew by for me.
Oh, it did for me too. It's like, that's it. I want more. I don't end it there. I want to hear more between all these characters. And it was awesome because, Missy as always was loony as a bin. And, and I loved it when the Doctor was like, those aren't Martians. Those are, Martians are tall green guys in armor.
These are fiction.
Yeah, exactly.
These are not the Doctor Who Martians.
Yeah.
No.
These are not the Ice Warriors.
No. And I found that interesting. And it was all, Missy manipulating things through this whole story, because it was her who set the whole thing in motion. And, the question, did she kidnap the Paternoster gang and Jessame? Did she kidnap other humans and they just got killed by the aliens, or her aliens, or whatever you want to call it?
That's what I lead. Yeah, it implies that she had a small amount of humans, that she took.
And they didn't make it.
They didn't make it, right? They didn't make it. It's one of those things where I find that Big Finish likes to treat Missy like they kind of like to have their cake and eat it too, by having Missy be like this really charming, funny personality, but not really dwell on the fact that she's a mass murderer.
Yeah, she's a total sociopath.
I mean, we just recently, listened to her series 1 of her adventures on Big Finish, and it does kind of straddle that line where, but it works with her character because her experience with the 12th Doctor was one that she was trying to be good, right? Like, so you do sort of feel like she's trying, even though it's just not something that's going to come natural to her at all. She has to like double check and go, oh, wait, yes. Yeah. What I really, really enjoyed was they have a little interview with a lot of the talent involved at the end, on their bonus features. Unfortunately, they don't talk to, or they're not able to include Michelle Gomez, but listening to David and them talk about Michelle Gomez is really fun in the sense that they recorded all these this was recorded during COVID, during lockdown.
None of them were together.
So none of them were together. They were all doing it through Zoom and whatnot. And they said that, Michelle would improvise. She would riff, and David was like, I never knew when she was finished. Like, I didn't want to step on her because she was saying this like brilliantly funny stuff. But it made it awkward because she wasn't exactly following the script, and they didn't know when to like kind of jump in and respond. But see, I think that just confirms something that we've suspected, is that Michelle Gomez is Missy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She's awesome. She knows Missy through and through.
Yeah.
Oh, we saw a little bit with that with her in Doom Patrol too. But
almost everything she's done, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's no question when you watch something that Michelle Gomez is in that it's Michelle Gomez. Like, she's not one that disappears into a role. I mean, she's fantastic, but she always, brings everything that she has to it.
Sure. No, that totally makes sense. And it was interesting, but you could tell with some of the audio in this, they did a really good job at producing it, but you could tell, especially with Jenny, I could tell that her audio was slightly off compared to some of the others. And,
I think like slightly off in what way?
I don't know if it's because I edit audio all the time and everything, but you could tell the quality of the microphone that she was using and everything.
Well, they were all recording remotely, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I just thought that she sounded, I mean, through most of it, the first half of it anyway, she sounds more like K9.
Oh, she does. Well, she's hypnotized, of course.
Right. So she's just, so if that audio wasn't working, it was in the favor of the character, because I think it made her sound like K9.
Do you think they added some sort of effect to try to make her sound more?
No, I don't
like
think
she was under mind control.
They've done that.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering.
But it didn't get better when she came to. That's the thing.
It didn't change.
No, it didn't change at all. But it sounded great to listen to it. And like Mike had said, the chemistry between all the actors in this, because basically there literally was in this whole thing 6 actors, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, when they did the credits, they listed the 6 actors, and they said like all of the characters, were done by members of the cast, and I'm like, there were no other characters.
Yeah, it's just them.
Unless you count the first and third Doctors, and
well, of course they weren't. And I think that's the first time It's not the first time I've heard the first Doctor, because I think he was in the first Past Lives, the first chapter of this that we did, right?
that was Tom was the first one.
I know, but there was a little bit of the First Doctor, I think, in that one too.
I thought it was supposed to be the War Doctor or something like
I'm
that.
not. Yeah, I can't remember.
That's how memorable.
I
it
know
was.
he's relatively new to Big Finish. Doing
Yeah.
First Doctor.
But he's had it okay. And then this is the first time I've heard, someone attempt to do the Third Doctor, and I could tell it was, supposed to be the Third Doctor, but it was, I don't know. It didn't really make me go, ooh, I want to listen to a whole story with him.
No, but I do want to hear the David Warner versions of the Third Doctor that they have. Because he plays an alternate version of the Third Doctor.
Well, sure. But I mean, he's not trying to be John Pertwee.
No,
yeah, that's a different thing.
Yeah, this guy was trying to be Pertwee.
Yes. And there are other stories where this actor plays Pertwee. It's
a shame that they couldn't get his son to do it, but
no, of course not, because he sounds almost exactly like him to a T, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, Sean sounds almost too close at times, I think. But and we've heard other people, do some of the voices too. But I mean, what are you going to do? Either not have them, or I mean, you're kind of stuck, right? So until like AI comes along and just fixes everything, and then everybody sounds like it's for. Yeah, that's exactly what AI is going to be for.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, we've also seen, they do have Big Finish Adventures with what I think David Bradley as the First Doctor.
Yes. Yeah. This was not, I was kind of surprised because I thought at first, I'm like, is this David Bradley? And I'm like, no, it's not David Bradley. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. They've got another person doing it.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I was like, that does not sound like David Bradley. And that's because it was not.
No, exactly. But it's funny because, it's like, no, that's not David Bradley's voice, but it's obviously the First Doctor. You could tell.
Oh yeah, you did know who it was. I mean,
yeah.
I didn't have trouble figuring out it was it's supposed to be the First Doctor.
Mm-hmm. No, and then having the Paternoster gang, it was so good to hear them, again, because we haven't heard them since the last time we listened to the end of their first series. Because I know they have the beginning of the second season now.
Yeah, I can't wait to review that because I think we all liked that series a lot.
Absolutely.
They just work so well together, and it's great to have them appear in this and interact with David's Doctor. It just added a whole new element to them, and it seemed right at home. It didn't seem out of place at all. It just seemed really comfortable, and hearing the three of them actually, Strax will never not make me smile.
Oh, I was grinning as soon as he regenerated into Tennant's Doctor. It's like I got a grin on my face, ear to ear, and all the way through to the end of it. It was just like, oh, this is wonderful. This is great, and it was fun to hear. And David did such a fantastic job, doing it. Not exactly the 10th Doctor, but he was the 10th Doctor, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they don't really make it clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really clear what's going on yet.
Oh, it's just a future self, as they were calling it.
It's very vague.
It could have been 14, folks. I'm just saying.
No, I think they've got something else in mind for this. But as a chapter of all, I don't think you need to. I don't feel like there wasn't anything that made me go, oh, I really need to catch up on all the other chapters of this and see how it ends. Mm-mm. So as far as that promoting that goes, I think they failed. But as just a straight up chapter that you can listen to without having all that baggage, I think it works fine.
Oh yeah, you can definitely listen to this on its own. I don't.
Without a doubt.
It's not really missing anything without hearing the other episodes.
No, I agree with that. You're not missing anything, and if it was a standalone, this was great for a standalone. When I first started hearing Jenny as hypnotized, all hypnotized by Missy, I was like, oh, don't let it be like all the other characters are hypnotized or they don't know who they are. But I loved it, that you had Vastra and you had Strax, and they were true to character and everything. So it was fun. And just a little aside, it was funny because we just got done watching the new season of All Creatures Big and Small, and Nev McIntosh actually is in that new season.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
And so it was just like I recognized her immediately because we interviewed her a couple years back at Concaster Burris, and it was just like Judy was like, "Who is that?" It's like, listen to the voice. I don't know. And I said, look at her think of her with green skin and a really long tongue. Yeah. So it was pretty funny. And so, yeah. And it was neat to listen to it. And this one was worth the $11 I paid for it. It was definitely, it was fun. It was a good adventure. And, I want to know what Missy was thinking to create, recreate all of London on, basically, and kidnapping people.
She was bored.
Yeah.
She was bored. She needed something to do.
Well, she says she needed something to focus on because she was struggling with her own, regenerations and all that. And, and look, I mean, almost every episode, whether it's classic series, New Who, whatever, that the Master's in, her plots never make sense. They're always batty. They're always just weird and crazy. I think that's why, he gets the reputation of being like not all there later on in New Who. So there's a little bit of that element to her as well. I love the fact that, for a Missy story, we don't get to see Missy do like classic Master stuff that often. And here, I mean, we get to hear it here, not see it, but in this instance, she actually we get the shrinking ray. Yeah, we get the shrinking ray, and use the hypnosis that she uses. She mentions past Master things like waiting around and being patient to strike and all that kind of stuff based on other parts of the other stories featuring the Master. So it really does kind of the person who wrote this did their research as far as the Master goes, not just the Doctor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they had the character down, and I do love at the end that they turn the tripods into little teeny tiny tripods.
Little teeny tiny tripods.
And leave
Put them all in a bucket.
Yep. And I loved it, when she was like, "Oh my God, I could feel myself changing. Do I have a goatee yet?"
And she and the Doctor almost have a moment.
Yes, she does.
It's close. It's pretty close.
You're my boyfriend. It's like, oh my. But yeah, the one character we have not talked about at all is Jessame. And, she was the narrative for this. Basically. She was the one describing everything that was happening.
Well, yeah, that was a play on the book because in War of the Worlds, it's the narrator.
Exactly.
It's a big part of the book.
Because it's basically right out of the diary.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Especially the playfulness of it when when they're actually running away from, the Martians and she stops to write in the journal and they're like,
as you do.
Could you not write in that, or could you not narrate because they can hear you? It is kind of funny, kind of what do the kids say?
Who
all
are
meta,
you talking to?
So that it is kind of funny, but yeah.
I love that part, and it wasn't bad. I had to look to see if I did some research and stuff on the name to see if she was an actual journalist from back then or something, but she was just a fictional character for the story.
Well, you never know. They do that sometimes.
Oh, exactly. But it was also interesting because Mike, you had brought up that you wish they had done some more stuff with H.G. Wells with Doctor Who and stuff like that, that they haven't.
I'm surprised they don't do more. They haven't done more. I know that there are instances where it's come up, but not a lot. I mean, we're talking about the guy who wrote The Time Machine.
Mhm. No,
like,
very true.
you think that'd be a no-brainer, tying that in with an episode of Doctor Who at some point, and yet I don't think they've ever done it.
Mm-mm. It's interesting too, because I know in the comics they have quite a bit, because he was heavily involved with the formation of Torchwood, actually.
Interesting.
And, you know, and then of course the Doctors run into him multiple times also. So it's some cool stuff that they've done. So, but the TV wise, I don't think they've talked about him and everything, but nothing more than that. I wonder, you know, if only Kieran, who was supposed to be on the show tonight, was here, he would be able to tell us if they did anything with H.G. Wells in Big Finish.
Yeah, I sort of looked, because definitely in my wheelhouse, and yet I haven't seen anything that they've really of significance that they've done with him. So that is a figure that at some point, they could use.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. So very cool. And, this is definitely, folks, it's not a long listen. It's easy to, enjoy, and you will enjoy this one. I can almost guarantee it. If you're a new Who fan, if you're a fan of, Tennant's era, of Capaldi's era, of course, Matt Smith's era, it's all pretty cool stuff that you can, definitely attach yourself to. So it's definitely worth the listen, and it's easy to get. It's easy to download and purchase and everything. Any final thoughts before we go ahead and rate this one?
Yeah, just to piggyback on that. I mean, if you're looking as for your entry into Big Finish, you want to try it, and you've never listened to it before, but it seems so overwhelming because their sets and, a lot of their series are like $30 or whatever. This is a nice, it's like only $10-12 or whatever. It's just a short listen, features, a lot of the great characters from New Who, at least the last few seasons. And it's a great entry point to hear how well Big Finish tells stories and how, what they do, that they know Doctor Who, like they're not just like, doing it to do it to make the buck. I mean, I know they want to, but,
Yes,
make a pound, but it's coming from a place that they really respect the franchise, and it's a great entryway, I think, into Doctor Who on Big Finish.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
Agree with that.
I mean, it's an easy, fun listen. The characters are spot on, and it's just I think it's something very enjoyable, and I think even somebody who wasn't a Doctor Who fan could probably listen to this and enjoy it just because of Michelle Gomez and David Tennant are so wonderful together.
Well, exactly. And so I definitely we all recommend it. Do we want to go ahead and rate this 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best? Mr. Mike, you got to go first tonight.
I'm going to give this a solid 4. I mean, if this was actually a TV episode, it would be amazing. But they don't have to spend the budget on this kind of thing. They can do whatever, and it really works. It's fun. It's not like it. Yeah. I mean, if you're a big H.G. Wells fan, big War of the Worlds fan, there's there's enough here to be like amusing, but it's not like, oh my God, I can't believe what they did. So I think it works really well. It's a fun listen. It's a great introduction to Big Finish. So yeah, I have no problem giving this a solid 4.
Okay. Mary.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 4.5. I'm going to deduct half a point just because there really is no plot, or the plot's pretty lacking. But it's so much fun. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's just a lovely mix of kind of absurd and intriguing, just like everybody loves in Doctor Who. And the character interaction is just endlessly fun to listen to. So highly recommend it.
No, okay. For me, I am going to give it, I'm going to do a 4.5 also. The only reason it's not a 5 for me is wasn't enough Strax. It could have used just a little bit more Strax.
Lack of Strax.
But otherwise, I think it was some of the best Big Finish I've listened to in quite some time. And, you know, I enjoyed it. The plot was all over the place, and it was fun. And, you know, I enjoyed it, and that's what I wanted. You know, I listened to it today on my lunch break, and it was wonderful. It was great to do, you know, while I was, you know, sitting at my desk and just listening to and smiling. And folks, with the world today, having time just to sit around and smiling ear to ear is a true pleasure.
That is worth its weight in gold.
Exactly. And so, you know what? I definitely recommend it. I think all three of us do. So please, folks, if you get a chance, watch or listen. You know, we definitely want you to listen to it. And we don't make money off Big Finish. We just do this because we're Doctor Who fans. So
no, it's the opposite. We spend money on Big
yeah. Big Finish is taking a lot of our money at this point.
We spend money so you don't have to. That's the way to do it. So it's a good thing. All right. So I think that's going to wrap up the episode for tonight. As I mentioned earlier, our friend Kieran Moffat was supposed to join us from Australia during this It's the Big Finish adventure. But sadly, there was some internet issues coming from down under. So we couldn't have him tonight. So we will have him on the show again soon. Check out his master podcast. It is definitely worth checking out. We'll have a link to it up on our show notes. So if you get a chance, you know, give him a listen. It's another great Doctor Who podcast, but not in the top 10 yet, but it will be. Just don't knock us out. That's all we say.
He's on his way.
He's on his way. So very cool. All right. Let's thank our regulars for being here. Of course, Ms. Mary Ogle, thank you as always.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad we got to talk about this one. It was a great Big Finish.
Mm-hmm. And we will be, you know, talking lots more other Big Finish and other episodes before Doctor Who comes back. So, you know, we're not going
plenty
anywhere,
of time before May.
No, exactly. You know, like you said earlier, before we know it, it's going to be right here, you know. So anything you want to promote, Mary?
You can find my art at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
Awesome. And Mr. Mike, we made it through another one.
We did. And as always, it's my pleasure.
Do you want to promote the DragonCon report real quick?
Well, sure. As I mentioned before, DragonCon is coming up. It's 8 months away. And less than, actually. So never too early to prepare. We've recorded our first episode. Our first episode is out where we talk about the 12 things that we hope never change about DragonCon. And we've got an episode that we're getting ready to record in February as well. So catch us on the ESO network. We are available with all fine podcasts.
Excellent. Wherever you find podcasts, they're the number one DragonCon podcast out there. So it's perfect. Awesome, folks. We will be back again in 2 weeks. Thank you guys for listening. We can be found everywhere you listen to your fine podcasts. And if you made it to the end of this show, please like and subscribe. We do appreciate you guys. And you know what? Didn't even mention it. We also have a new Instagram account. That's right, folks. We're not just up on Facebook on social media anymore. We also have an Instagram account. And, you know, we put up, you know, different memes. We put up different, you know, images that come up, or, you know, we put up our episodes when they go live. So you definitely could find that. And of course, our new YouTube channel. That's right, folks. Our YouTube is up and live. So you can also find us up there on that. And we're going to have our video format up there. We're not going to put the audio up there like, you know, some podcasts do, just, you know, as a podcast. We're going to put ourselves up there as the video format. So you can actually see these lovely faces. And, you know, we could, you know, get to see all the stuff on behind myself and Mr. Mike Gordon. So it's awesome. We should have a contest to see how many people can name the things behind us or stuff. You know, I think, you know, you could become a co-host for an episode if you could name the most things behind me and Mike, you know. So Mary doesn't count because she has
got a tree.
Yeah, exactly.
One tree.
One tree. So, but definitely would love to hear from you guys on that one. So join us next time. Thank you as always. On behalf of myself, Mike Faber, of course, Ms. Mary Ogle, and Mr. Mike Gordon. Thank you, and we will see you all next time on Earth Station Who. Peace, and we'll see you at Pensacon in 2 weeks. That's right.
Yay.
Bye.
Woohoo! There was much rejoicing.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from throughout space and time. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individuals and are to be used for entertainment value alone. You can subscribe to our show wherever fine podcasts are found, or check out our website, earthstationwho.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook or Instagram, and if you enjoyed the show, please write to us at feedback@earthstationwho.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the next journey of Earth Station Who.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.